This everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. As always, muchas gracias to everyone for everyone's wishes, prayers, and the love and support you guys extend my way. Desde el corazón, gracias. And before I get into the story on hand, I do want to ask of a favor to everyone. Do please go to the reaction channel I just opened up and do support, by liking or subscribing, at least in the sense to reach 1,000 subscribers so that it reaches what the goal is, right? To be a backup channel in case they end up closing this one. Due to my last episode, another report came in, right? And they're trying, they're trying to stop the message. But anyways, with that channel reaching its goal, I won't just go out and I'll be able to still maintain going live with you guys and keep pushing, right? So if you can, I appreciate every one of you. This right here is gonna be, I'm not gonna say a two-part thing, but it's gonna go hand in hand with the reaction I wanna put in on the other channel, right? Which is gonna be on San Pedro, right? And the recent bus. But to touch on the message and continue with what I've been doing right in this channel, I want to put a story right so that my reaction makes sense out about a camarada that now is a pili, right? It's a member. And, we talk about favoritism. As a camarada, you would know, it don't take much for us to get our wig pool, our card, our career, and get washed up, right? But there is those peelies that, they take you under their arm and they're really there for you. Again, I said it many times, I'm not on here to spread poison. It is what it is, right? There is good in all the bad. The main message is when you're in that world, bad trumps those that are good, right? Because at the end of the day, even their open game, they don't want to be open game, excuse me, for two, three other peelies to say, oh, he's not lining up with our beliefs, and they politic against him, right? I mean, they're there for being smart. But anyways, this is gonna circle around a firme pili, right? An older pili, which is Stoney from San Pedro, right? And for him being down as long as he has, he picked up love for this camarada, right? From his neighborhood. And I'll just call him C, because I've seen many videos put out on, or reactions, should I say, about San Pedro, and they're going off articles, right? They're going off according to their knowledge, which is in reality, it ain't but what they read and are fed to, right? But anyways, we'll call him C. For those that know, we'll pinpoint who I'm talking about, right? But anyways, San Pedro has three pilis. It's not just Stoney as some people said. And, San Pedro is a stronghold in the harbor area, right? I'm not gonna say it's the strongest because you guys know harbor area has a lot of movement, right, in general. But it's definitely up there, right? But anyway, see, I'm not exactly sure what year he got busted, but on the streets, his name had already came up, right? And not in good news, right? There was a green light put on San Pedro, right? And basically the pili from Cantarranas, not Spider, you know, uh, went out there and trying to check the reasoning why they had shot a brother of a member, right? And try to push up on them. And this homie C at the time, he felt some type of way in that meeting, right? And as it should be, right? To have a stranger from a whole different city, whole different neighborhood, come into your spot, your neighborhood, and yell at you like a kid. At the same time, he's telling you he's gonna clip you. You're gonna pay rent to him. That should be a reaction, right? But it's not no more. Nevertheless, he flexed up. Maybe he went too far in the sense of knowing he was a carnal, call him out, right? To get to doing what he was saying he was gonna do. Like greenlighting them and all. You guys know what that brings, the threats, right? He put hands on him, but he flexed up on him, right? Me, wherever I went, I didn't even have to be direct with a pili, right? I could be talking to you and you talk ill about a pili in front of me, and it's boogie time. No butter ribs. It was just our guidelines. Either you're all in or you're just playing a part, right? I used to love our structure, right? I had to, for as many as for whatever sacrifices, right, I did. And nevertheless, they got greenlighted, right, San Pedro. But see, for some reason, C's clique never obeyed with that. Homeboy had a good check. Something had to get done. Nothing never got done to him, right? Within time, seeing others, they did a drive-by, right? This is strike one. Keep in mind the strikes, please. That as a camarada, we don't get that opportunity, right? But anyways, in this drive-by, it was with some Africanos, right? A young girl, 16-year-old, got shot. Many have asked me, what's the consequences, right? And when it's like this, for example, right? Different races, you should get whacked from the start, you know? Usually you don't get to explain yourself. It's different races, you know? When it's amongst raza, with enemies and amigas, don't matter how old they are, right? Paperwork will talk. Because it could be a 13, 14, 15-year-old running at you, shooting at you, right? What you gonna do is asking for his ID? Nah, it's game banging, right? You're gonna pull and start rushing back and start dumping on him. It's part of game banging, right? So all that plays into the discipline behind it, right? And more so with Raza, nothing never happens, right? But with other races, it's different. For example, you know, Cribs, Bloods, they might have a couple individuals in the pad that are out there doing their thing, right? But not the whole house is going to be part of. It's just a known fact, right? There's a lot more civilians than it plays out with us. So to put a stop to that extra, right, that will come along with it, is just plus the no drive-by regla had already been put in place. Nevertheless, he got caught, got a grip of time in LA County. He got whacked, right? And it wasn't because of the 16-year-old girl. His name was already there, as I mentioned, for flexing on a pili, right? So he got whacked, and basically he got told, you're through. Your only way to even try to clean this up is handle your business, get up to a shoe, and explain yourself, try to clear yourself, right? But keep in mind, in reality, there shouldn't be no more cleaning up, right? Again, just that pili issue should have been a go. You're done anywhere you went, right? And now I'm not hating on homeboy because my respects, right? He was a fool, he's a writer, smart individual, right? I had the pleasure of meeting him up there in the bay. Nevertheless, since he hit reception, he asked for the opportunity. He told the llavero, right? I'm aware that, homeboy from Canta, this and that, but I want to be able to clean my stuff. I need to get up there. I don't want to be that individual, right? That would just pick someone or start a war leave a war behind, with different race, whatever. So just give me someone that has to go. And it played out or so, right? Homeboy C, he didn't take his life, but he heard, an individual that had it coming. One of them nasty weenie fools, right? And he played his way up to the bay. From there he went to Corcoran Shoe. Corcoran Shoe, there's a couple issues there. He got hit again, right? Because homeboy from Cantaranas, you could say he was in touch with King Cobras, right? He got hit again, and he did what he had to do, right, to get up to the bay. It's not the correct thing to do because sometimes it puts a bigger target on you, right? But for those that were in Corcoran around this time, would remember a squat, right? Garcia, he was one of them D's that, man, that fool pulled me out I don't know how many times, right? He's the one that gave my first validation packet. When I beat it, he the one that took me down and re, took pictures of all my tattoos, resend it for my second validation, right? Of course, he had a lot more vatos telling them things now. But anyways, somehow homeboy went to committee. He had a way to reach Garcia, and homeboy slid him, right? Again, for those that know Garcia, know that happy smile, right, that he has right underneath his cheekbone. It was from homeboy, and that got him the ticket to go up to Pelican Bay. You know, he hit Pelican Bay. It was already, them single sales, especially if you have violence like that type, right? And he got lucky, right? He was able to get in touch with Stoney, and Stoney basically worked out a deal with homeboy from Cantarana, and what he said he wasn't going to do on the streets, he did inside, right? Well, he had his clique start peddling on the streets, doing things for Stoney, and eventually, her homeboy from Cantarana's got paid to lift that hit. It's unfortunate to say that innocent girl that got hit got swept under the rug, right? It was just never mentioned. But again, it comes with favoritism, right? Stoney was shielding him. Nobody was gonna question that paperwork, right? If he was under Stoney and Stoney was okay with it, everyone, including myself, you're gonna minimize it. I guess it's part of the fear factor we hold, right? Because we all have fear when we're there. We might say we're Pancho Villa con huaraches or whatever you want to say, but in reality, we all get punked. We all know what's right and wrong, but when it suits, everything's right. Nothing's wrong, right? Nevertheless, I don't want to sidetrack. Homeboy would eventually. It was one of them things where, oops, sales opened up and he took care of a big business for the organization, more so for Stoney up there. Those that can remember 2008 in Pelican Bay, Seaside, doors open, homeboy took someone's life, right? And he would get blessed. Again, it goes with who you are under, right? Stoney put him on, and it was a favor as a whole for the clique. Nobody questioned Stoney, right? He got made. Everything else stopped, did not matter. At that moment, there was already another Pili from Rancho, right? And C was the third one. The thing is, there ain't another one like him right now. I recently heard someone come on and say San Pedro's the most powerful or has the most. No. And on Stoney didn't know. San Pedro's unlocked. And yes, a lot of it circles back to Stoney, right? But Stoney's at that age where he's allowing C to do everything. He trusts him. And C ain't a grateful individual either. You see the difference in Pilis? There's those that will maintain loyal to you. Like I said, C is making sure Stoney's being taken care of. At least when it comes to the city, right? Where they're from. And about San Pedro being the strongest neighborhood in Harbor area, I would never say that. Those that ask me through IG, that would only come from an ignorant individual that don't know what's out there, right? Because, I'm not going to give them to fuel to touch on it, right? If they know, they know. If not, they could go on Google and read, figure it out. Nevertheless, there is a lot of movement. As we speak right now, C has some good connections. One of the best connections, I would say, in the harbor area. That I could say when it comes to avenues, pipelines, or even knowing people in person. You see, he was neighbors with somebody from excuse me, no, not Tamaulipas, Veracruz. And I'm just gonna say, be smart. When the government wants to hit somebody, even a neighborhood, an individual, in this case a cartel, everything gets pointed to them. You guys haven't noticed? Every bus belongs to Sinaloa. Well, let me just say this. San Pedro through C and Stoney and the other Pili. There's a lot of movement, but it ain't Sinaloa. But please go over and check out the reaction to it, where I will get into detail. I don't want to mix one thing with the other. The point of this message on this one is favoritism, the risk. It does exist. Good Pilis do exist. Solid camaradas with a good heart do exist. You know, but there is more of that other than tecatos that see camaradas as ants. You stump a few, a whole bunch will be there still. You know, they will use and abuse. So mainly I'll leave this with a question. Are you willing to sacrifice everything to risk it? Are you willing to risk? We grew up on the streets is ain't nobody could tell me nothing. Even the one that gave me life or whatever can't tell me nada. Are you willing to go to prison and put your life in Atecato's hands? I've said it before. Try it out. Go to Skin Road and allow that man to run your program for a whole month. Don't sacrifice what's true. It could be your homeboys. You're the only one that knows that. Yourself, your family. Stay true to yourself and loyal to loved ones. God bless everyone.